I'm grateful to be here. I appreciate everyone's flexibility, a lot of judging the balls, so we may have to adjust some curveballs over the next few hours, but I think it's going to be a great morning. So why am I here? Number one, finding someone who can say no to Jack Levine. Okay? And so Jack, who I consider a mentor, a friend, we spend a lot of time at Masa, at the restaurant, talking about things that we can do to help our community. And Jack, I'm very grateful for our friendship. So why is someone who looks like an offensive lineman and has an accent here? I'll take you back to 1960. My parents fled from Cuba due to the political situation. Their priorities were food on the table, safety, and education. I'll further share a story. My grandfather, Luis Gonzalez, at that point was probably 70 years old. And we lived on 8th Street in Miami. And I went to a school, I would say a mile and a half from his home. My parents were in their early 20s. They couldn't pick us up. They couldn't, I mean, it was tough. My grandfather, Luis Gonzalez, who didn't speak English, did not have a car, picked me up from school every day for years. It goes further than that. His wife, Rosa Gonzalez, rest in peace, my grandmother, she had a house, or an apartment, probably the size of a large bathroom. She always had picadillo, she always had bananas, she always had pastelitos and frijoles and black beans, and as you can tell. And, but one of the big things was taking care of the children. And you'll hear in a few minutes with my plea that the homes are the first school, okay? A few other reasons why I'm here. I've got family and education, bottom line. My wife Jessica is in the education system. My sister Janine and Bianca, they're both teachers. And I've got cousins in Miami, Mariquilla, Adriana, who are also teachers, dedicated at this craft for over 20 years. A couple more reasons why I'm here. As was mentioned earlier, the CEO of a company called 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃, right here in town. You'll learn a little bit more about that in a second. People often ask, hey, how many employees do you have? And Kyle and Madeline have heard this before. Now we're up to 115 employees, which we're very proud of. But I always respond by saying we have 74 children, right? To me, that's even more important. Hopefully one day, other business folks will ask me, how many children are in your company? And then lastly, I'm a father of 2 amazing children. I remember last night, my son Meyer wanted to watch some Miami Heat basketball. And I said, Meyer, I love the Miami Heat, but you've got to do your 30 minutes of reading. And we sat down on the couch. This was a few hours ago. We sat down on the couch and we read it. It was a beautiful moment. So, before we transition to our keynote speaker, I've got a plea for all of you that I want to share. I want to also thank Jack for helping me as I went through this thought process. So, without a doubt, prevention is the best medicine, and that is part of the theme here today. In both personal behavior and public policy priorities, keeping bad things from happening is not only wise, it's potentially life-saving. I think we all can agree to that. As a dedicated entrepreneur, an operator of a growing business, as mentioned, with 115 employees across 24 states and 2 countries, and most importantly, 74 children, I'm pledged, as a small business owner, I'm pledged to be a family-friendly business owner. I, a business owner, am dedicated and advocating for tried and true policies and programs and practices for parents and children that reduce the risk. So Madeline knows this, and so does Kyle. I'm in the tech business, but I always have these 2 documents with me, which is a little old school, okay? I think all of you should go on the websites and download. The first one is the Guide to a Family-Friendly Workplace by the Children's Movement, okay? I got it right here, printed, PDF. It's an amazing document. The second one, led by Kyle from the Florida Chamber Foundation, is the Untapped Talent. What happens to our economy, and I know we have some elected officials here in the sheriff that we're very grateful for, what happens in our economy if we do not invest in childcare 0 to 5? You need to read this, okay? And we'll make sure you get some of this information. In so many ways, our children's health and well-being depend on using our best ways to avoid problems before they suffer negative results. From the earliest stages of life, access to prenatal care enhances the likelihood of healthy birth. The research is clear and convincing. Access to early health care in pregnancy minimizes newborn distress and reduces infant mortality. One of our passionate projects in our company, there's something here connected, is something called newborn screening, where we're trying to modernize the process of testing for babies when they're first born, for congenital heart disease, for STDs. So when mom and baby leave that hospital, they know that they're safe and they don't have to stay for an extra few days for example, antibiotics. We have learned so much about early brain development and the importance of providing positive sensory experiences to enhance emotional well-being and pave the way for educational success. Babies are smart in so many ways, we all know that. When they receive the attention they crave, they're fed and properly cared for, they learn that they are safe and secure. Unfortunately, that's not happening in our community, and it's definitely not happening around the world. When they are ignored, neglected, or suffer violence, they perceive the world to be an unsafe and frightening place. Innovative neurological research tells us that the majority of brain growth and development occurs years before kindergarten. And I think we'll learn a little bit more about that from our wonderful guest speaker. Realizing that our homes are our first schoolrooms recognizes the vital importance of the early years. That is why timely education and support services for new parents and affordable, high-quality early learning coalition opportunities in the community are so essential for our children's educational future. I doubt that anyone would dismiss these realities as unimportant, but it's up to all of us in this room, individuals, family members, neighbors, citizens, to do all we can to create opportunities for our youngest to survive, thrive, and succeed. When it comes to children, it's not whether we pay, as Jack likes to say, it's when we pay. Investing in success is far better than paying the high cost of failure. Not only does an ounce of prevention avoid a pound of cure, it far outweighs a ton of punishment. My community colleagues are teaching me that the whole child, the whole family, and the whole community approach to assuring that prudent investments in quality care should be made when they produce the best chance for social dividends to accrue. As we approach the end of 2023, a year that will surely be judged as one which challenges all of us to be alert to the dangers we face by ignoring good advice. Let's resolve to be strong, advocates for building a bridge that connects what we know with what we do to assure a bright future for our children and our broader society. So, some of you know me, I consider myself an optimist by nature. It's clear to me that the good things we hope, they just don't happen out of the blue. We have such great opportunities to act as responsible parents, grandparents, and community leaders to become ardent and assertive advocates for progress. Let's resolve to make 2024 a year when we leverage the best knowledge to create better futures for our loved ones at home and for many others whose names we don't know, but in many ways affect us and our economy. And lastly, when all is said, the most important is what gets done. We need to deliver. We need to deliver. Please join me in supporting advocacy organizations, many of you are in this room, family service agencies, and thoughtful policy leaders who make the power of prevention their priority. On that note, I want to recognize a few organizations that I've had the honor and privilege to work with, and I know they're in this room. The Florida Association for Education of Young Children, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Big Bend, the Children's Forum, the Children's Movement, the Early Learning Coalition of Big Bend, the Association of Early Learning Coalitions, the Florida Chamber Foundation, amazing work, the Children's Services Council, Whole Child Leon, and for our community, I want to emphasize a little bit about the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. What I have seen over the last 5 years, their emphasis on education. Some of you may have heard or attended the Worlds of Work event. Amazing. Close to 3,000 students, okay? Some of you have heard that the Chamber and its members, by the way, 1,200 members, 55,000, it represents 55,000 employees, adopt kindergartens, are working on talent pipeline management, and they're starting at 0 to 5. Thank you very much.